I dropped what? We up to the Mishnah.
Oh, thank God I got to.
I need a shtickle of water, but what's his name is not here. Oh, you should go ahead for the coffee. You should have seen the simcha. I can't explain the simcha in Yeshua. So just for that, forget about the whole shir. Oh, here he is. He's walking around. I'm not kidding. He's walking around the two barrels for an hour. He went up the structure, down the structure. Take a video with me like this. Take it like that. Simcha g'dayla ma'od. All right, are we live? Okay, Gevaldik. We're holding the test on Daleth by the Mishnah. So there's not a lot of people missing, Chaval, and I don't know if you could even read this chart. Thank you very much. Slushy water, by the way. Whoever likes slushy. Here's the chart. Could you see it from where you're sitting even? Doc, how about you? Okay. The colors are great. Basically, this is a very long Mishnah that's somewhat repetitive. I want to make a little bit of a seder before we go into the Mishnah. The Mishnah brings 4 types of korbanos and then 3 types of breads and mincha. And what the Mishnah is trying to do is the Mishnah is telling us when does Meilah, the Isser to use kachim begin, when does it end? And then 2 halachas in the middle. When does all this stuff, all these korbanos become susceptible to tumah from a tvul yom? A tvul yom is a person who went to the mikveh that day but didn't. It's not nightfall yet, or mechusar kippurim, he didn't bring his carbon yet, so he's somewhat tamei because he went to the mikveh but he's not completely tar. If he touches that piece of carbon, that mincha, whatever, when does it become susceptible to tumah? And when does the Isser Pigul, Noisar, and Tameh begin? Those are the 4 categories. When does Meilah begin? When does it end? When does it become Mukhshar to become Pasul? When does it become Tameh? And Lina, most of the cases are Lina. When does leaving it overnight begin? And when does the Isser Pigul, Noisar, and Tameh begin? So, one thing in all 7 cases, there's no problem, and it's very simple. It's all Korbanos. What are the korbanos? Let's first discuss what the Mishnah is going to talk about. First one is the oilas oif. If a person brings, yesterday we discussed chatas oif. Today we're discussing oilas oif. That's category 1, and a regular oila. We also have the parman esrafim, like the par in Yom Kippur is burnt. And finally we have the category of chatas, asham, shalmi tzibur, which means the 2 korbanos on Shavuos. Then the last 3 are the shtei alechem from Shavuos, the lechem aponim that we have every week, and a regular mincha that you take a kmitza from. All 7, as soon as a person says, I'm being magdish this bird, I'm being magdish this mincha, it becomes Meilah. You're not allowed to use it. It becomes susceptible to Meilah. It becomes kachim as soon as you say it with your mouth. All 7. Now, in the korbanos, it's very simple. When does it become tamei? If somebody touches it, when does that piece of meat become tamei? Right after shchita. Or in a bird, right after malika. What about by the breads? Breads is when they become crusted. And a mincha is when you put it inside the kli. Crusted, by the way, is also putting inside the kli. It's the same kind of concept. It's putting inside the oven. But you can't just, it doesn't become kaddish when you put it in the oven. It's when it becomes encrusted in the oven. Fine. Then you have pigul, noisar, tameh. When could it become susceptible to pigul and to noisar and to tameh? By a carbon, it's when you do the zrika, the hazah, and by a bird, it's also the mitzui, because we're talking about a oila. Yesterday we're talking about a chatos, there's hazah. By a oila, there's only mitzui, only squeezing the neck on the mizbeach. Then by the shtei halachem, we have the matir. When you do a matir, meaning like by the shtei halachem, you have to do the zrika on the blood of the animal. There's bread and there's the animal. So when you do the zrika on the animal, that's matir, that allows you to eat the bread, to bring the bread, so that's the matter. By the lechem aponim, you take the spoonful of the frankincense and you put it on the mizbeach, that's the matter. So that's when it becomes pigul noiser tameh, and by a regular mincha, it's when you take the kmitza, when you put it on the mizbeach. Finally, when's the end of Meilah? I'm just explaining the Mishnah Al Peh, whoever came now. When's the end of Meilah? Basically, all Korbanos is when it goes to Beis Hadeshen. Oh, now I'll explain Beis Hadeshen Al Peh before we get there. Does anybody know what the difference between Beis Hadeshen, Trumas Hadeshen, or Yitzhak Hadeshen is? I shall explain. Here's the Mizbeach. Every day they put the Korbanos right here, in this side. When you walk up the ramp, it's on the right side, it's called the Maracha. This burns and burns until you have ashes. Every single morning there's a mitzvah to take one scoopful of the ashes called Trumas Hadeshen. You remember the famous story when all the Kohanim were running up the ramp and then one guy gave him a little shove because he wanted to get up there first and he died? That's the story. Oh, broke his leg. Yeah? Oh, broke his leg. I thought okay, fine. Only broke his leg. Shkoyach. They started a goyel. B'kitzur, you take, what do you do with that Trumas Hadeshen? You come off the ramp, you walk up 10 amas this way, and you put it very close, because it says in the pasuk you should put it close to the ramp, to the Mizbeach, put it 3 tefachim within there. What happens to those ashes? They disappear. It's one of the nisim in the Beis Hamikdash, they disappear. This is also called Beis Hadeshen, but we're talking about a different Beis Hadeshen that's outside of Yerushalayim. So the first step is to take Trumas Hadeshen. You take a little bit of the ashes in a spoon, in a kaf. Then you put the rest of the ashes from the Maracha, you put it in the center of the Mizbeach, called the Tapuach. And when that fills up very high, it doesn't matter when, it could be once a week, once a year, whenever that time is that these ashes are too high, then they take it out. That's called Hoitzas Hadeshen. It's another mitzvah called Hoitzas Hadeshen. We're going to see in Machlokes today, is Trumas Hadeshen and Hoitzas Hadeshen one and the same? In other words, is it a continuation of the same mitzvah, or they're separate mitzvahs? And it's very important to know what it is, because we need to know, is there Meilah or not? Once you do Trumas Hadeshen, is it over? Or do you need Hoitzas Hadeshen? You need to remove it completely to the Beis Hadeshen. Okay? So it's not confusing anymore. Trumas Hadeshen is the initial scoop. And that you put on the side of the Mizbeach, it disappears into the floor. Then you do Hoitzas Hadeshen, you first move all the Hadeshen to the center, then you remove all the ashes from the center, let's say once a month, whenever it is, you take it outside of Yerushalayim, that's Hoitzas Hadeshen, you bring it to the Beis Hadeshen. So the Gemara, the Mishnah is telling us that when it comes to Karbanos, when do you finish Meilah? It's all the way when you take all the ashes to Beis Hadeshen. Once you bring it to the, what is it called in English, that, where it smells real bad on the highway? Yeah, like a rubbish dump kind of thing. There's something like that. So when you bring it to the Beis Hadeshen, or in the case of a chatas, a regular chatas, we said that there's no Meilah anymore after Zrika. So what are we talking about? The Emurim only. The Emurim, once you bring it, it's not enough that you put it on top of the Mizbeach, there's still Meilah. You have to put it in the truck and haul it off to the Beis Hadeshen, then that's when Meilah stops. And the last 3 things, when does Meilah stop? By the Lachamim, where you do the Zrika on the Keves, which is the matter, again, the same thing as we had before. The Pigel Noiser begins when you do the Zrika of the Keves, so Meilah stops when they do. By the Lechem Apanim, when you Makriv the Levina, that's when Meilah stops by the Lechem Apanim. And finally, by a Mincha, when you take the Kmitza and put it on the Mizbech, like that's when Pigel starts, that's when Meilah stops. Let's see inside. Shalom Aleichem Reb Hillel. We missed you. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, landfill. The English people probably don't have that word. Zok the Mishnah. You don't? They don't have a landfill. Because it's not really a landfill. They try to landfill it with whatever. I don't know that that's the proper word. Zok the Mishnah. You can't just not. We didn't even start yet. Says the Mishnah, Daf Tesam and Aleph. Oila Sa'oif, which is missing one of the steps that we had yesterday in the Chatas Oif. You don't do Hazah, you don't sprinkle the blood with the bird, you just take the neck of the bird and you squeeze it onto the Mizbeach. Moyal and Bo Mishugdasho. When does Meilah start? And that's going to be a constant in all 7 cases in the Mishnah, from the moment that you say with your mouth that this bird is Kodesh. It becomes Kodesh Kodoshim, Kedushas Haguf. Nimlaka, when you do Malika, which is similar to the Shechit in the rest of the cases of the Mishnah, then it jumps from Kedushas Agov to Kedushas Karban and Huchshara Lepasel Betvil Yoim Mechusik Kippurim. We're going to say it once for those who weren't here the other day, and it applies to the rest of the Mishnah. Tvul Yoim, again, is a person who is Tameh, went to the mikveh that day. He removed part of his tumah by going to the mikveh, but he still has to wait for sunset, for nightfall, and Herav Shemesh, and then he becomes completely tar. Ube Mechusar Kippurim, there are people, like a woman who gave birth, goes to the mikveh, still not tahar until the following day when she brings a karban, then she completes the tahara. These people, as we discussed yesterday, have a light state of tumah. What could they accomplish with the tumah? They could accomplish that if they touch kachim, and that's what we're discussing now, a bird, after you shechted it, is kachim, is susceptible to tumah from a tvul yom. Because kachim is very sensitive. In other words, if that tvul yom would touch a regular apple, nothing would happen. But since it's kachim, it's on a more sensitive level, it could become tamei, as the Mishnah calls it pasul. Only tamei to the point that it itself is tamei, this food, but it has no ability to make something else, to transmit tumah to another object. Ubelina, and that's when, from the point of Malika, that's when you have lina. That's if you leave the meat overnight, or Taisus wasn't sure if it's the meat or the blood immediately after Shkia, it's no good. Mitzah dama, by the oil sa'if, there's mitzah, you squeeze it onto the mizbeach, chayavim olav, from that point on, and that we're going to look for every one of the 7 items in our Mishnah. What is the point that pigul starts, that I could think in my head that I want to bring it on the mizbeach at the wrong time, or eat it at the wrong time? We're talking about oil sa'if, there's no eating, so Meilah, it's talking about being makrivit past its allotted time. Noisar, leftover, v'tamei, and if a person who's tamei eats it, he's chayev kares. It's all from the point of Malika on. Umoyalim ba, and you're over on Meilah, ad sheteitze lebeis hadeshin, until you bring it to the place called Beis Hadeshin outside of Yerushalayim. Again, there's a small place, Beis Hadeshin, next to the Mizbeach, not referring to that one. Parim hanisrafim. There are cows, second category. Cows on Yom Kippur. There's the Helam Davar, Par Helam Davar. There's different Par Mashiach, Kohen Mashiach. 3 parim, I think. Useirim hanisrafim. Again, this is the sar that's burnt on Yom Kippur, in Yom Yoma, and the sar for Avodah Zarah. Meilah b'hem mishur ukdushu. From the moment that they set it aside for this Par Yom Kippur, that's when you over on Meilah. Nishchatu, once the shechted, huchshuru li pasal bitvul yoim ubum chusar kippurim ubelina. Huza daman. Now, these cows, you do hazah, you sprinkle on the pareiches, kachei hakadashim, you come outside to the kodesh. It's a whole process. Once you do hazah, chayav malei mishum pigul noisa v'tamei. On the imurim of these parim, that's when you're chayev for pigul. The rest is burnt, as we're going to see. Umoylam behem bebeis hadeshin achi yatich habasar. So this is a little bit different than the other cases. There's a concept called yatich basar till the meat becomes completely consumed and is ashes. Why? Because parim and israfim, nobody eats the meat. The whole meat goes to the beis hadeshin and is burnt to ashes. So typically, if you just bring it to the Beis Hadeshin, like a oila sa'if, if you bring it to the Beis Hadeshin, you just put it on the heat, on the landfill, no more Meilah. Over here, no, you have to wait 25 minutes until the entire piece of meat, yatich habasar, because that's the way that the mitzvah is finished with the parim and israfim. Right? This is the whole concept over here is, when is the mitzvah done? Once the mitzvah is finished, then there's no more Meilah. So if I bring it to the landfill, there's no mitzvah anymore. By parim and israfim, the mitzvah is not finished when I just bring it. I have to wait until it's completely consumed.
Meilah and pigul can happen at the same time?
What?
Meilah and pigul can happen at the same time?
Meilah happened way before. Meilah happened when I designated it. Then I'm being moil. Then when I shecht it, then I'm over on pigul. Two different.
Wouldn't be considered Meilah.
You have to shecht it. That's what you're supposed to do with this carbon. I need to shecht it. Meilah means using it for your benefit. Third category, ha'oila. We just discussed the oila bird. Now we're talking about ha'oila carbon. Moilan baba shugdasha. Again, Once I'm magdish it, that's when Meilah starts. Nishchata, you're shechting, it's an animal, there's no malika. Then that becomes susceptible to become tamei if a tfil or mechusik kippurim touch it. And also lina. Nizrak dama, once I pour the blood on the mizbeach, that's when pigul starts. There's no more Meilah on the hide which goes to the kohen. But the meat of the oila which goes on the mizbeach, there's Meilah all the way until you remove it and bring it to Beis Hadeshen. Chatos v'asham. Chatos v'asham, next category. It's a regular chatos, regular asham, v'ziv chishal mitzibur are the karbanos you bring on Shavuos. Moilam be'em hugdeshu, again, once you say with your mouth, that's when it becomes kaddish, that's when there's Meilah. Nishchatu. You see, that's why I made the list, because it's all repetitive. All this stuff is repetitive, minus a couple of details. Nizrak dama, once this rika chayav malei mishum pigol nois v'tamei, that's when pigol starts. Ein moilim bebasar. There's no isser to use the meat because the meat is for the kohanim. It goes from Kashi Hashem to the kohanim. But the murim, that's what we're talking about in this list of stuff over here that we're talking about. There's an issue, is the murim. The murim stay Kashi Hashem. So when does the Meilah expire? When you bring it to Beis Hadeshen.
Only the imurim.
Only murim, the rest not. Shtei alechem. The rest that goes to the kohen. Shtei alechem moyalim bohem mishuvukdeshu. The two breads that you bring together with the kvasim on Shavuos, there is Meilah immediately when you're makdish it. Karmu ba'tanor, once they get crusted in the oven. So that says we're going to see by a mincha, there's a kedushas hakli. I'm going according to Tosfos that the oven is makdish it, but it's not enough just to throw a bunch of flour into the oven. You need to have the crusted bread. Then it becomes susceptible that if a tfil yom touches it, then mechusar kippurim, it becomes tamei. Ubelina, Tosfos is geiris the word lina, because Tosfos says this whole thing goes according to Rebbe, and if you go according to Rebbe, the reason why Rashi, the Mefarish, is not geiris the word lina is because the Mefarish holds that the Shtei Alechem was made a day before, so there's already no lina anymore. You see that there's no problem with lina, it's already 24 hours old anyways. But Tosfos says this is not going, it's only going according to Rebbe, and Rebbe holds that you don't make the Shtei Alechem the day before, you make it on the spot. Meilah, there's no raya that there's lina, and Meilah, you have, I'm saying that there's no raya that there's no isolina. Meilah, lina does apply in this Mishnah. And that's when, after you do the crusted bread, you have crusted bread, then you could shecht the two kvasim on Shavuos. Is it the same question? It's all new questions.
So it's just a question of understanding.
Yeah.
When we say you maul at Shektei Beis Hadeshen,
yeah,
it means if you didn't do pigol nois and other things before that, right?
You have to bring it to the Beis Hadeshen anyways, regardless.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you use it, if you do Meilah, you can. You know, it's saying if you didn't do pigol nois.
Well, pigol noiser and tummy have nothing to do with Meilah. Nothing to do.
I thought once they pigol, it can't be Meilah. It's already.
Why?
Can they coexist?
Why not? If I think that it's pigol, it's still. We had a whole thing about it. Once, if you cannot remove the kodesh from it, then the Meilah stays forever. How do you have to remove the kedusha in order for the Meilah not to be chal? If you do pigol, still kodesh, you still moil. Why not? Okay, now we're going to the next category of breads. Lechem aponim. Once a week on Shabbos, they would remove the breads from the shulchan. They'll make new breads on Erev Shabbos. They added to the lechem aponim the bezichim, the spoonfuls of.
Shabbos or on Erev Shabbos?
No, they made it Erev Shabbos. They switched it out on Shabbos. They added the frankincense. I can't even say it anymore. And then they would be makrivit, that bezichin, those spoonfuls of the levina, they would be makrivit. So lechem aponim moyel boy mishugdash once it's magdash. Karim batanor, if it's got encrusted, possible to yom chuzik kippurim, that's when it becomes susceptible to tuma. That's when you are allowed to already put on top of the shulchan because it's crusted. Once the frankincense is mukrav on the mizbeach, that's when you could have a machshavas pigul, and that's when if a person eats it betuma, he's chayav kares and is noisa. And from that point on, the kohanim get to eat it, so there's no more me'ilah. Final case. Once you put it into the vessel, right? We had a demonstration. Whoever is here menachas saw how you make a mincha. You put all the ingredients in a kli, and then you take a kmitza worth. You go like this actually. You take 3 fingers worth. So huchshuru lipaso b'tvul yoim. Once you put in that kli, then it becomes susceptible to tuma. Once you put the kmitza on top of the mizbeach, what's kmitza similar to? If it's similar to a carbon, what's kmitza? Zrika. Kmitza is like zrika, right? Because you have the kmitza, when the kohen goes like this, that is like shchita. He puts it into the next kli, that's like Kabbalah. And then he walks into the mizbeach, that's Eilacha, and then he puts on the mizbeach, that's zrika. Now, the leftover flour inside the bowl after he does the kmitza, that's shirayim, as we had the other day, that you're not allowed to even be missing one piece of gargir. How do you say gargir in English? A grain of salt. Even one grain of whatever passes it. But there's no me'ilah anymore once you do the kmitza on the mizbeach. You makriv it. Avol, listen to this halacha. There is me'ilah on the actual kmitza itself. The shirayin, there's no me'ilah anymore. But the kmitza itself, even if I put on the mizbeach, I use it, I benefit from it, it gives me heat, I'm over a me'ilah until it goes to the Beis HaDeshen. Zog Moro Itmar. So now we're going to go into machloikis. We said before, this Trumas HaDeshen, there's taking a scoopful of the ashes, and you put it into the middle of the mizbeach called the tapuach. And from there you do Eitzas HaDeshen, you bring to the Beis HaDeshen. So the Gemara has machloikis here. At what point does me'ilah stop? Is it when you bring it completely to the Beis HaDeshen outside of Yerushalayim to the landfill? Or even when you just do Trumas HaDeshen, you take a little bit of the ashes from the Marocha and put it into the middle of the Mizbeach? So we're learning, like Tosfos, that he already took the Trumas HaDeshen. It was already taken that morning by the Nates. One of the Kohanim took it, and he decided to use the Efer Tapuach, to use the ashes that are in the center of the Mizbeach. Rav Omar Ei Moyalim Boy. Rav says there's no Me'ilah. Rabbi Yochanan Omar Moyalim Boy. There's still Me'ilah, because the mitzvah, according to Rabbi Yochanan, is not finished until you finish with Hoitzas HaDeshen. What should we do about milk and sugar in the new share room? We have to have some sort of conveyor belt that goes through the thing, goes to different, what?
You have a round table and you have a round thing that spins around.
There has to be more than one table there.
I think you should have that's what everybody likes. How many sugars, milk.
It could be like if anybody ever went to B&H in New York, highly recommended. So if you order a video camera, he pushes a button and through the ceiling, you see it coming down the ceiling and it just ends up by you somehow. That's what we need for the coffee, maybe. It'll be ganz geschmack. No, because actually I was discussing with Nachman the other day. You can't get a big giant machine that you push latte because there's going to be a line of people and it doesn't come out quick enough. But if you have that latte machine with the conveyor belt, that could work. Everybody's learning, and as you're learning, it just comes down to your seat. I can hear that. The thing will cost more than the actual building, but it's kedai. Do we have any sponsors? Anybody? Better decide quickly before somebody chops it. Judah is sponsoring. Gewaldic. What?
You press the button and it comes out.
That's what I'm talking about. No. That's the machine I'm talking about. It still takes a minute. It still takes a minute. It's 30 minutes for 30 people, 40 minutes for 40 people. You do the math. In that building, it's going to be 60 people. 60 minutes takes an hour. Kids and people are going to line up. Yeah. The idea, seriously, I had an idea to have that machine, but it closes at the 7:15 and opens up again at 8 o'clock. And during this year, you get Yeshua's coffee. Once again, Yeshua Dr. Lynn for bringing coffee. I was supposed to order it and send it to his house in I don't know where he was, some weird place. Where were you, Rochester? Western Pennsylvania. And I completely forgot, and I told Yeshua, I forgot, I'm sorry. And somehow he decided to bring it on his own. Yishkoyach Gadol. Means a lot. All right. Zok the Gemara. Itman enem efer at the poch shagabe mizbeach. Rabbi Omar ein moyel boy. Rabbi Yochanan Omar moyel boy. Rabbi Yochanan holds that the mitzvah continues all the way through Trumas Hadesh and Oitzas Hadesh and the whole mitzvah. It's not over yet. Says the Gemara, very simple. Lifnei Trumas Hadesh, and before the Kohen removes the morning portion of the ashes, kulei amaloi pligi the moyel boy. Of course, as a mitzvah, there's Meilah. Ki pligi lachet Trumas Hadeshin Rav Omar ein moyel boy. It's done once you do Trumas Hadeshin. Hari naaseh mitzvah, so the mitzvah is over. Rabbi Yochanan Omar kivin dechsiv v'lo vashat koyin midoy bad. Now, if you look on the side, it's more meduyi because it brings the second pasuk dalid. It should be your last pasuk in the Torah or whatever you have. It says ufashat is gadov. That's the pasuk that we're looking for. He removes his clothing that he's wearing. He has to wear clothing that are appropriate for ashes and getting dirty. V'lovish b'godem acherim. Rabbi Yochanan says the Torah is telling the kohen to put on special clothing. What does that mean to me? That means it's still a mitzvah. Still a mitzvah. You are over on the Meilah if you use it. Kivin the tzorach lebigdei kahuna b'gdushosei kai. There's still kedusha. None. Now we want to prove one way or another. Moyalim b'hem at sheteitz beis hadeshen. It says in our Mishnah. What? When is, well, they're both mitzvahs, right? A Trumas Hadeshin or Itzas Hadeshin are both mitzvahs. Are they connected to each other? Are they one long mitzvah? And Meilah, I'm still over until there's Itzas Hadeshin. Now, what does it say in our Mishnah, Rabbi Isai? It says Beis Hadeshin. Until you go out to Beis Hadeshin. Who's that mashma like? Rabbi Yochanan, that the mitzvah is only over when I bring it outside to the landfill, not when I do a little scoopful. Not in our Mishnah, what? That's not every day. The Itzas Hadeshin, not every day. So you'd be over Meilah if... Yes, one continuous mitzvah, correct. Of the carbon I did on Sunday is not done until the following month on Monday. Now, it says Mufurish, Beis Hadeshen is the thing, not Trumas Hadeshen, Kashil Rav, or Malach Rav, Beis Hadeshen. He's going to have to say, explain the word, not literally bringing it to the landfill, rather it means when it's roy to go to the landfill. Meisvei. V'chulon. Over there, it's describing, you all remember, of course, when you have bones that are attached to an oila carbon, you put the bones on the mizbech, no problem. What happens if the bone or the sinew separated from the carbon oila? You're not supposed to put it on the mizbech, it's not part of the oila. But what happens if the guy went ahead and did it anyways, and he threw it onto the mizbech? Says the Mishnah of Chulam Shepaku, remember that? Like there was one shot that from the moisture and the heat, it gave enough power to just pop right off. It comes out of the fire. I guess in a good bonfire you could see it sometimes. Think what? A little explosion. Yeah, some sort of reaction happened. Flew off of the mizbeach. Lo yachzer. It never belonged in the mizbeach to begin with. So just because it fell off, don't put it back on. B'chein gachele shepaka. Your son, by the way, Mr. Kornbluth, at 12:45. Was texting me all these crazy ideas what we should do in the base measure. One of his things was that we should have tablets, a bunch of tablets. And the other idea, he said we should have a bar, because there's no bar in Ramat Bet Shemesh. He said it would attract a lot of people if we have a little bar on the side. Whatever, 12:45. What? He's talking about tablets like what Yaakov has. Yeah. You get a Ritalin dispenser. We finally get certain people. I'm not going to mention Yirmi's name or anything. Okay, so this is the halacha that we're looking for. What happens to a piece of coal made out of wood? Because the marach in the middle, the tapuach, not the marach, the tapuach had coal, had wood that used to help the fire. you have one of the coals that flew off the Mizbeach, also don't return it. So the Gemara is medayik. What if it fell off the tapuach? The explosion wasn't a major explosion, it was a minor. So the coal went from the center to the side, where it doesn't belong. Yachzer. Seems like you should move the coal back. Now, the problem is that after this Trumas Hadeshen, according to Rav, everything is over. The mitzvah is finished. In other words, the ashes on the tapuach, it's over. So why are you moving things back into the center? Who cares? The mitzvah was over according to Rav. What? Because the mitzvah is not over until you bring it to Beis Hadeshen outside of Yerushalayim. Rav Kashya, once I do Trumas Hadeshen, my mitzvah is complete. So if a single coal fell out of place, what's the big deal? We're not talking about ashes, we're talking about coals. A coal could have a property to it. It's a thick thing. It's heavy. It has mamashas. It's not ashes. It's a coal. And then Meilah, for it, similarly, by the way, these pieces of meat that are in the mizbeach also, they're meat. If they're not done, they're not completely ashes, you put it back on, right? Any piece of meat that goes in the mizbeach and falls off, you have to put back. You don't say nasa mitzvasai, because nasa mitzvasai, so coals are similar to a piece of meat. They're not done yet. So some people say the reverse, that the question was on Rabbi Yochanan. And it's the same exact thing that we just said, but we're starting from the end. We're starting from the teretz, working our way back to the kasha. It's obvious that in the Mishnah over there, it's because it's a coal that has some property to it, and in Meilah you put it back on. But if it's just ashes, we're talking about a coal. The Mishnah over there doesn't describe ashes. Why does the Mishnah talk about ashes? Because the ashes, you wouldn't sweep back into the center. There's no Meilah anymore. The mitzvah is done by Trumas Hadeshen, and Kasha that the mitzvah is not done yet. So even ashes on top of the mizbech, you should put back into the center. You're right. Ashes you cannot use, you can't be moil, you have to put back into the center. By the time so why does it mention the word kol? A great chiddush, even a coal that's worth something, it's not done yet, and it falls completely off the mizbeach, you don't return it. Itmar.
So you have to put back if you don't have to put back, but the coals you don't.
No. Afer you put back if it didn't fall off completely. If it falls off completely off the mizbeach, Afer and coals you don't put back. If it goes to the side of the mizbeach, because it's not in the center where it belongs, it went to like where the maracha is. I don't want coals by my maracha, so that you mechuyev to push back into the center. Now, a person did Meilah. It's a very, very fundamental sugya here. A person did Meilah. What does he have to do? He has to bring 25% of whatever he benefited. Where does that money go? Where does he put that money? There's different places. It could go. So, for instance, if a person used an oila, he would buy an oila. If a person used bedek habayis, the upkeep of the Beis Hamikdash, he would donate to he would give 25% more to the upkeep of Beis Hamikdash. If a person, let's say, set aside money, as we're going to see, for a chatos, he didn't buy a chatos. He put the money aside, and he was moiling the money. He used that money, so he has to bring 25% more. So he buys a bigger chatos, a fatter chatos, a nicer chatos. No problem. Where's the problem? In our sugya. This is an in-between stage. You have the meat that's about to go to the kohen, but it's not at the kohen's rishus yet. It's basar kochi kochim before zrika. If he performs zrika, the kohen gets the meat. It's his. But if there's no zrika yet, whose meat is it? Hashem's, kochi Hashem. And then he did Meilah from that meat at that stage. Who does he give the money back to? To Hashem or to the kohen? Not really. That's not the question. But that's the underlining shaila here. Before zrika, before the kohen was able to get it, because once the kohen gets it, there's no Meilah at all, right? That's it. It's not. Meilah is only on kochi Hashem. And from the murim after zrika, Rav Omar Mashenehena Yiplun Nedava. Rav says it goes to Nedava, Velevi Omar Yavi Dava Shekula Mizbeach. It's even one step further. You give something, as the Gemara is going to describe in a second, which is Ketores, is on very few things. Ketores is the main one, that it's completely absorbed by the mizbech, and nobody gets any benefit whatsoever. What about an oila, bird? Oh, very good, very good. The crop doesn't go onto the mizbech, so the crop is part of the intestines. The noitza, I don't even know if we could figure that, but let's say the noitza is that feather. The kohen had to be extremely strong and throw it. We made a cheshbon of 40 feet or something. So those are not part. But Torah is completely consumed by the mizbeach, as we're going to see in a second. Tiny Kev say the Levi. The Gemara is going to bring a brisa that says exactly like Levi and a brisa that says exactly like Rav. It's a little unfair, the brisa that we're bringing for Levi. So Taisus explains it's not so unfair. Tanya Kev say the Levi. Where do I give the money that I was mile from, the 25% extra? Believe it or not, the Gemara in Sanhedrin says that anytime it says Halamedim lifnei chachamim, it means who? Levi. So why is that fair to bring a right to Levi from Levi himself? Says Tosfos, that's why he points out, he says, you can't say that it's the same Levi, it can't be Sanhedrin, it's somebody else. Fine. Umeimur Kochim Kalim, what?
Before it says Rebbe.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, but Taisus just points out you can't just make up names. In Sanhedrin says every time it says Alamedim Lefnei Rebbe, Chachamim, it means Rebbe, but it was Levi that learned from Rebbe. The Chachamim is Rebbe, but who's the Talmud? Levi. The Gemara says before it's always Levi. Halamedim is one person.
Not that he said it and they accepted it. Meaning that the Bryce doesn't call him Levi specifically here because the shot is that he said the Chacham and they were on the Kabbalah.
So you mean the rise is not from the rise, the rise is from the Kabbalah. Okay. Noop shot. Umeimuri kochim kalim lachas rikas damim. Mashenhena yiplu l'dava that says mafurish like Rav. That would be a problem. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry. That's not a problem. Yeah, sorry. What? Did I skip still? Oh, okay. Hold on. Mamish skipped a lot. That we said. My new Torahs. So he says it has to be something that Kulei La Mizbeach. Tani Kavase the Rav. If you profit, you benefit from the money set aside from a chatos or an asham, actually korbe chatosoi, Yosef yovi chatosoi. Bring a fatter chatos with the 25% extra money you have in your pocket. Actually korbe ashamoi, Yosef yovi ashamoi. Kfar korbe chatosoi. What if you didn't understand the halacha? You didn't do what the halacha tells you. You had $100 set aside. You used $100, so now you have to bring $125. Instead of buying a chatas for 125, you bought a chatas for 100. Now what do you do with the 25 that you messed up with? The $25 goes into the Dead Sea, and some people always say, we always have the Shem Shaila, into a salty sea. The point is, it goes to waste. Because anytime you have a chatas, shekipru ba'aleh, so by Osham, it's yirat she'istoiv, so yiplu l'nedava. If you benefit from kachi kachim before zrika, this is a good raya to Rav, because it says here it goes to nedava. Doesn't say you have to do something that completely gets consumed. Now here's a problem. This is a steer to this word that we just said minei ubei in the same price. It says kol korbanos, any korban, meaning even a chatos. Even in all situations, if I have extra money, it goes to the mizbeach, and not tiyam melach. If I have extra, like we said a second ago, korban is kochi bedek habayis, the bedek habayis, and a korban from bedek habayis goes to bedek habayis. Korban is tzibur and tzibur. Hagu for kashi, says the Gemara. Ktoni actually korban chatasoi. It says if you have extra money from your money that you allotted for a chatos, because you were moyel, you had 100 set aside, and you were moyel, so you brought another 25, but you didn't know the halacha that you're supposed to add it to the actual animal, so now it's left over. What do? It says. It says mefurish, you should take that money and throw it out. And then it says a second later, it says you should put it on the mizbech, don't throw it out. Even if there's a kapara for the owner, you don't throw it out, you put it in the mizbech. Ask the Gemara, Reisha, Rabbi Shimoni, you're telling me the first part goes according to Rabbi Shimon that you throw it out? According to Chachamim, if you in a situation where you designate money aside for your chatas for what do you call it? A guarantee, an insurance, achrayis. Thank you. If you do it for achrayis, say Chachamim, that's not considered chatas shekibur ba'aleh to the point where the money goes to the dava. Chatas shekibur ba'aleh, Chachamim says, when I really brought it as a chatas because my chatas got lost and then I found it. Fine. But Akalparim Rav Shimon holds, in all cases, throw out the money. V'sefer Rabbanon. Omer Rav Givia the Kosel Rashi Ocher Rabbayo. Reish Rav Shimon v'sefer Rabbanon. And I wrote over here, Kan Mechayech Noam. Weiter. A great day, everybody. Look at that building tomorrow, Be'ez Hashem. It's going to be completely enclosed.